All right, good morning and welcome to our 5th virtual Walk MS broadcast. It's great to have so many of you joining us from my house to your house right now. My name is Carrie Schrader and I have the privilege of hosting our time together this morning. I work for the National MS Society, but I've also had the privilege of hosting the Denver Walk MS event for the last 11 years. And like many of you, I too have a personal connection to MS. I first got involved back in 2006 after my younger sister Amanda was diagnosed with MS, and she was 21. That was really hard on our family. And, you know, we had to find our own ways to get connected, and Walk MS popped up on a banner one day and said, that sounds like an awesome way to get started. And over the years, I have just built out this amazing network and community of people who also have their own stories, and we're going to hear more about people's stories as we go on today. But I'm so thankful that you're here. We have two tremendous guests with us today, and I'll be introducing them in just a bit, but I have a few announcements to make. So while our Walk MS experience does look different this year, as we're probably sitting on our couches and just doing things different, our mission remains the same. And if you or someone you know is looking for resources related to COVID-19 and multiple sclerosis, please visit our National MS Society website, and we will be sharing that link in our comment section. Of course, because of the coronavirus, all of our Walk MS events through the end of June are virtual. And this allows us to connect and fundraise and celebrate and inspire each other in unique and different ways. And we're really going to embrace that today. This weekend, people will be commemorating 82 events across 35 states. That's amazing. And we are all doing that virtually, and we're doing that together right now. And this is another way of saying we're also going to be a little more creative about how we do it. So this is really our biggest Walk MS event of the entire year. And virtual means that maybe we can't always gather in big groups like we're used to, but we can still commemorate in any way that we want. And kind of our mantra around this is it's my walk, my way. We're going to see a lot of photos and videos pop up on social media of people commemorating Walk MS their way and finding new and unique ways to fundraise, which is still so important. We have 1 million people living with MS and they need us. So we have to continue this mission. We have to continue to show up to these virtual events and fundraise. So please share your posts, your videos, and use our hashtag, which you'll see the banner, hashtag virtual Walk MS. All right, while we're getting settled, and maybe you already have your tennis shoes or your sneakers because you're going to actually go for a walk at the end of this broadcast, I want to encourage you just to take a moment and turn this broadcast on Facebook into a watch party. So it's really simple. Just click on the words watch party on your screen and your friends will automatically be invited to watch this broadcast with you. All right, throughout the broadcast, we want to hear from you. Post your team name. That is honestly my favorite part, is hearing all of the creative team names. So please, please, please put that in the comment box and we'll be commenting and sharing that. We also want to make sure that we know where you're from. Like we said, there's 35 states being represented. So tell us what city you're in, where your couch is at right now, and also talk about your favorite memory from Walk MS. I know we all have dozens we can think of. And so whatever you'd like to share, put it in there. I'll be doing shout outs throughout the broadcast and just kind of recognizing those very cool stories. And if you're wearing your orange today, which I'm doing kind of an orange roll call on our presenters, we are all wearing our flair. And if you're getting ready to walk, take a photo, take a selfie, put that in the comment box. We'd love to see that. All right, I think I'm already seeing a few comments, so we'll do some shout outs throughout our time together. So keep dropping those in. All right, this is where I want to do like a little bit of a drum roll, but we had a big announcement last week. We had a $100,000 fundraising challenge, and we had an anonymous donor who said they would give us an additional $50,000 if we hit that. And I have the results of the challenge. And as a big teaser, let me tell you, you do not want to miss the number that I'm going to tell you at the end of this broadcast. So stay on, stay connected, keep listening. And if you have a guess, now remember the challenge was $100,000. So if you have a guess about how much we fundraise, put that in the comment box. I'm already getting my first shout out, Jamie. She's coming in from Atlanta. So awesome. Hopefully you have some great weather down there, Jamie. All right, let's get to our special guest. Oh, I'm so privileged to get to meet Sarah and Milt Wong, who are joining us, and hear more about their story. Sarah was diagnosed with MS in 1999, and she and her husband, Milt, who is joining us today, reside in Milwaukee and have a high school age son named Ethan. Starting in 2014, Sarah has taken the top spot in Wisconsin's #1 Walk MS fundraiser. And I love this part. She is also number 12 as a Walk MS fundraiser across the whole nation, which is just incredible. She has a background in marketing, nonprofits, and music, and sings in several bands. She's also a member of Wisconsin's Board of Trustees. In 2014, Sarah and Milt launched a fundraiser called Fighting MS Egg Roll Style, now called Walk Hard for MS. And you guessed it, walk is spelled W-O-K. Walk Hard for MS. And this year, the event raised $36,000. So in total, Sarah has raised nearly $300,000 for our organization. Incredible. And I cannot wait to hear more about your story and more about your very cool fundraiser that you're doing. And my other guest today is Dr. Bruce Bebo. He's one of our executive vice presidents of research at the National MS Society. And his responsibilities include leading the Society's global research strategy focused on achieving breakthroughs for people affected by MS. Bruce is a member of the Society's senior leadership team, and he serves on the scientific steering committee of the International Progressive MS Alliance and the programmatic panel for the MS program at the Congressionally Directed Medical Research Program. And if we could put that all into an acronym someday, Bruce, that would be really helpful. What a mouthful of wonderful things that you were doing. Bruce brings 30 years of experience in MS research in academic, industry, and nonprofit organizations. He was inspired to join the MS movement by his mother, who lives with progressive MS. All right, so we have a lot to get into, and hopefully I gave you some great teasers about our wonderful guests that we have today. So let's jump right into it. And Sarah and Milt, I'm so excited to start with you. So I'd love to know what motivates you year after year to continue fundraising and performing at such a high level? And what keeps you motivated to be #1 in Wisconsin? Is that always your goal?
I would say that our goal is to raise as much money as possible for the society. It's fun to be #1, but if I can help other teams raise even more money and that bumps me out of the #1 spot because that's going to be more money for the MS Society to do what they do, then I'm happy to give up the #1 spot. But I would say our motivation comes from just the everyday challenges of living with MS and all the people that I've met and the challenges that they go through. It is just top of mind every minute of how important it is to have treatments for people, continue to look for a cure, continue to find ways to repair the brain so people can get back their function. And the only way to do that is with funds and building awareness around the world. I know that there are new numbers that are much bigger than what they once were thought in the United States of having, nearly 1 million people diagnosed with MS. And that is staggering and just another reason why we need to continue to work hard and raise as much money as we have been over the years.
Absolutely. Yes, I understand that motivation. I know a lot of that inspiration that you have has turned into your own personal fundraising event, which I mentioned earlier. I would love to know more about the history, how it works, what have you learned about it over the years, and would love to hear from you too, Milt, because as many of us know, when you are fundraising and participating, it is a family event and we are all coming together. So tell us more about your event.
I'm going to let him start with that one.
Well, it really grew somewhat organically. We were actually coming up on Sarah's 15th anniversary for having been diagnosed and living with MS. And we had always sort of been in the top 10, 15 of fundraising. So we said, for the 15th anniversary, let's make a bigger deal out of it and sort of just raise that much more awareness and money. And there may have been some wine or adult beverages that inspired this moment, but we said, let's throw a big party, invite as many people as we can, and have people throw cash in a bucket, and let's see what happens. And then it kind of just organically grew through the brainstorming that evening of, well, we've had parties before where we've kind of cooked a big Chinese meal. That's my cultural background. And we said, yeah, let's do this event and cook a big Chinese meal and invite as many people as we can. And the first year, I think we packed like 60 or 70 people into our house, which was just mayhem because we
in our house.
Oh my goodness.
And it we blew fuses, the lights were off. I mean, it was just kind of mayhem because we don't have a commercial kitchen and we don't have a restaurant. But year one, we kind of blew the doors off the house, literally, with incredible support from our friends and family. And then
there were about 60 to 70 people that first year.
Yeah. And 7 years later, that's grown to an annual event that this past year was 350 plus people. And just incredible support from, now an army of volunteers and community members, including our synagogue nearby that allows us to use their social hall that can hold 350 people, because our house definitely cannot hold that many. But it's really just sort of grown organically over the last 7 years.
Oh, that's tremendous. To go from 60 to 70 people to 350, that's unreal. And I love that it started with this was just what you had. You used your resources, which was your home and your personal space, and to grow that. I know it's intimidating, I think, for a lot of people to think about kind of curating their own fundraiser. What advice do you have for people that might be looking to do their own, especially in these challenging times as we're asking for money? What kind of resources or things have you leaned on to help with that?
So we have been lucky to be in a position where we, along with other family members that I have been able to underwrite the cost of our event. So we can give every dollar to the MS Society. It's also a pretty cost-effective event. Chinese food actually scales up in a very economical way. And we do have some donations that we get from people. But you don't have to do an event on the scale that we are doing. I've had people ask, how do you raise so much money? Well, I've been living with this disease for 21 years, and I have been raising money for 20 of those 21 years. And so you learn things and you get better at it. And I think the first year I raised a couple $100. Mm-hmm. So it's grown. And as far as the type of event to do, I think you have to dig into your own personal likes and interests and hobbies. How can you make it personal to you? What's something you already know how to do so that you're not having to reinvent the wheel? And then I think you start small, and I think you let it grow as it needs to grow. We have found our event tells us when it's time to get bigger. And that's sort of what we've done. But I don't think it has to be a big gala or a big fancy event. I think you can make it anything that to you and says something about who you are as a person and what matters to you.
Yep. I'll add to that. Just as it's grown, people ask about the event because literally from year one, it was, cooking in our home kitchen. And when it grew, literally, as Sarah said, the event told us that it grew. I think in year 4, we had 160 people come and go in our house, and it was literally jam-packed. And they told us it was time to move to a different venue. Incredibly supportive community that lets us use the social hall and have a commercial size kitchen that then allows us. But as Sarah mentioned, it's really about still keeping the event, you or us in this case. It's our story. It's Sarah's story. And so as an example, now that it's grown, there's people that actually don't know about my cultural background as much. And they're like, well, where's Milt? I think, isn't he helping host the event? Well, he's in the kitchen with an army of volunteers cooking the event, because as it's grown, you might imagine that various people have said, well, they're really there for Sarah. And the answer to that is yes. But part of what makes it unique and organic is that it takes, an army literally a month and a half to prepare all the food. And during the event, we're actually live cooking all of the stir-fry dishes, the appetizers. Our son Ethan and his friends, our family, Sarah's mom, a huge community of people are passing the appetizers. It's literally, from wok, WOK, to people's plates in like literally seconds throughout the night. So there's a lot of dimensions of this that have just grown organically, but it's very much us in the event.
And to get a feel for the event, I believe they're going to be putting a promotional video that we have in the comments, and that'll give you kind of a decent idea of what the event feels like and what it looks like. But yeah, we had about 60 volunteers this year, both in pre-preparation as well as the night of. And that's another key to having a successful event, is really getting the community involved.
Absolutely. No, that's tremendous. And I love that. And I think so much of, doing a fundraiser and fundraising is just asking people. And I think we've probably all seen that in so many of our viewers right now, of you just have to ask, whether it's, a resource or a talent to cook or a willingness to learn. And I think what I've learned from this is I'd love to buy a ticket to Milwaukee and come out and go to your fundraiser sometime. That sounds just amazing.
You are absolutely welcome.
Absolutely.
I know I'm hungry.
I know.
Making me hungry.
I agree with that, Bruce. I have, one more question for you, Sarah and Milt. And you've referenced, Ethan and family and friends. And I know for me, I show up to Bike MS and I have a team, and we have a Muck Fest here in Denver and walk. And it's like, you feel like you're part of the whole spectrum of what we can do. And you've referenced the whole family getting involved. But I understand that there are some other events you do. And can you talk about what it looks like when the family's all in, and what that looks like to rally around together?
Yeah, I mean, so not only does our family really put in tremendous amount of hours with our event, but everyone does the MS walk together in Milwaukee. We have a team called Wong's Walkers, and we actually have friends and family in San Francisco who are Wong's Walkers West. And I actually think they're doing their virtual walk tomorrow in San Francisco. So we're now,
spreading
our
wings.
National team. Milt and Ethan have done Bike MS. I think that when you're 12 years old, you can start to do Bike MS, and Ethan started right away. I think the first year they did it on a tandem bike together.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
And I have cousins around the country who have their own connections to MS, as well as their connection with me, who are doing walks and bikes and fundraisers themselves. And I think that it's just, I think it is natural that when you have a family member going through something, you rally behind them. And that's certainly the case with us. And that's true not only of our family, but our network of friends. We're both from the Milwaukee area, so we have quite a wide network, which is another way to raise a lot of money, is small donations, but lots of them. Yeah, that's how we do it.
And it doesn't take long for that to add up too. So those small donations, that's tremendous. I love hearing about the tandem bike. I hope we have a picture of that. And we definitely on our feed, you'll see some photos scrolling of kind of all of us, of our own stories and how we're engaged. And we are hearing from you guys. We are hearing comments. I want to take just a moment here to give a few shout outs. I've got Roger Wilson, Walk MS, Wilson's Warriors in rainy, blooming Illinois. So sounds like this might be the perfect day for you to be doing a virtual event. Sarah Bohr, she's from Michigan, Miles for Matt. Jenna, Mid-America Superstars, representing in Kansas City. Also a shout out to the world's best barbecue and Super Bowl champs. So as a Broncos fan, I feel that, but I was very excited for them this last year. Let's see here. Paula, Team Savage Assault Against MS is here with you. See, I told you the team names are just the best part of this. That's just fantastic. And let's see, there's so many of them coming in. I'm trying to get to as many as possible. Brandon from Indianapolis, team is called Brianna Shamrocks, and their slogan is Irish for a Cure. I love that. Kathleen's telling us how sunny it is in St. Paul, Minnesota. And just excited that she's a part of this virtual walk. Thank you so much. And then Max, thanks for sharing all these inspiring stories. Thank you, Max. We're so glad that we have the platform to do this. Sending support and love from San Francisco with Gene Team. So fantastic. Keep those coming. Show us your orange. Take that selfie. Keep posting, and we'll be commenting on that. I want to turn my attention to Bruce. Thank you so much for being here this morning. And we had quite an amazing introduction of just the wonderful ways you're involved in the MS Society. Can you describe your journey to your current role at the Society and talk what motivates you to focus on MS research?
Sure. Thanks, Carrie. And it's great to be here today. And it is gloomy and rainy and cool in Portland, Oregon, where I'm currently. I, like a lot of us, I was inspired to pursue a career in MS research by my mom, who was diagnosed with progressive MS when she was in her early 30s. My brother and I were teenagers. We watched her progress from a cane to crutches to a wheelchair in just a few short years. And, this was a long time ago. And there was really nothing available that could alter the course of her disease, or even really make life a little bit easier for her. And I found that to be unacceptable. And so that's the reason why I decided to dedicate my life, my career, to finding solutions for my mom and everybody else living with MS. And, my roles have changed over the years. First, I was a graduate student, and I worked really day and night to try to discover something about MS that could lead to a breakthrough for my mom and for everybody else. And next, as a society-funded postdoctoral fellow, I was focused on trying to develop ways that we could regulate the disease-causing immune attack in MS. During that time, I was also a volunteer for the Society. I was a board member of the Oregon and Southwest Washington chapter of the Society. I was a team captain, so we're sharing team names. We were lemmings on wheels.
I love
that. But now I have the real great privilege and responsibility of leading the Society's research programs. And in this role, my responsibility really is to make sure that our investments, the investments that are made possible by all of you and all the hard work that everyone puts in WALK and all of the other fundraising events, that generosity of everybody in this room, that we direct those funds in the smartest, most strategic, most impactful way possible, so that we can one day soon, and the sooner the better, we'll have a cure for MS.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you for sharing that. And I think I even have a personal curiosity. We both work at the MS Society, but what does a normal day look like for you, Bruce?
Well, a normal day for me, I lead the Society's research team. We have about a dozen people on that team, some of whom are, reformed lab rats like myself, and some on an administration team that helps us manage and lead the portfolio. My job really is to make sure, as I said, that the investments that we're making are made in the most impactful way possible. One of the things, Carrie, people might like to know is, since we started investing in research 70 years ago, the total amount we've invested up to now has been $1 billion. That's B with a B. I feel like I have to do this when I do the 1 billion.
A little Mike Myers channeling.
Exactly.
Yes.
And, I think that's a number. It's incredible. But what it reflects really is, it's really catalyzed a revolution in our understanding of the biology that drives MS. It's led to the explosion in new treatments that we have for MS. And for everyone who's benefited from that, the quality of life for people with MS, for the people who respond and benefit from those medications, has improved dramatically. But I think, what we're focused on now in research really is, we know we don't have enough solutions for people living with progressive MS. That's an area that we're focused on. We still haven't figured out exactly how to repair the damage to the nervous system that MS causes. And we haven't figured out how to prevent MS from happening in the first place. And maybe most importantly of all, we still don't have a cure. So, what we're focused on is pushing the envelope and leaving no stone unturned, and finding breakthroughs that lead to new understandings of MS that eventually lead to new treatments, which are milestones towards an eventual cure for MS.
Yeah, I love that. It's a lot of work ahead of us. And, we think about that $1 billion number, and I know we're the largest private funder of MS research. Anything else you'd want to elaborate about what that means and how much research we're talking about? You talked about some things we're still working towards.
Yeah, well, I have, for a science geek, I have one of the best jobs in the world. I mean, I get to, hear all of what's going on in MS research across the world. That's another, maybe something for everyone to keep in mind and maybe share with their supporters, is that, people with MS, they don't care where the next breakthrough for MS comes from or where the cure for MS comes from. So our research is funded agnostic to any kind of borders at all. We're going to fund the best research, and we're going to fund research that leads to breakthroughs for MS, and regardless of borders or agnostic to geography. So with that being said, there are some areas of research now that I think are really very exciting, and that, we're poised to make some pretty exciting breakthroughs. One of which is, our tremendous understanding now of the pathways, the immune pathways primarily that lead to MS attacks, and then translating that knowledge into new therapeutic approaches, and new treatments, and eventually a way to completely stop MS in its tracks. I think what's really important is diagnosing MS as early as possible and getting on a disease-modifying treatment that works as early as possible. So some of the kind of exciting, I'd say, research in this area of trying to stop MS is trying to identify it using biomarkers. So these are sort of fluid biomarkers that you might be able to detect in blood. We're not there yet, but making really good progress there. And also MRI imaging. Back when my mom was diagnosed, there was no MRI. Of course, that's changed the landscape dramatically and made MS a little easier disease to diagnose. But making advances in imaging to be able to use that to better track the, let's say, response to different treatments, and perhaps even to be able to predict and develop more personalized approaches to treating MS, so we can figure out which treatment works for which person faster. Remember, I said the faster you get on a treatment that works for you, the better the long-term outcomes are. So all the research going into biomarkers and MRI to get to be able to provide the kind of information a person needs to be able to find that treatment approach is an area of opportunity that I see us making progress in. I mentioned restoring, that was an area that was a gap, but we've been rapidly filling that gap and understanding how the capacity of the nervous system actually to repair itself, both repairing myelin, I think many of you know is the target of the immune attack in MS, but also figuring out ways to, through rehabilitation, to rewire the nervous system around areas of damage and teach the nervous system how to perform the functions it needs to do in spite of that damage. So there's a lot of, particularly in the area of myelin repair. I mean, this was sort of, science fiction a few years ago.
Yeah.
And we've really developed a better understanding of the brain's natural capacity to repair, and are leveraging that knowledge in order to develop strategies and treatments for repair. And when I say we, Carrie, it's the royal we,
Yeah.
whole movement, but has identified and has actually tested strategies to promote myelin repair in humans, and demonstrated, early trials the ability to promote repair. So I'm very excited about that. And then finally, I think another area we have a lot of opportunity we're making investments in is, the understanding that disease like MS might actually be preventable. So if we're knowing something about the genetics of MS, we're learning more about what some of the triggers are for MS, and the ability to maybe identify people who are at high risk for MS before they ever get it in the first place. And so this is an emerging area in the last few years where we are getting closer. We're not there yet, but we're getting closer to maybe being able to identify people who are at high risk for developing MS, and then being able to treat people before they ever get clinical signs of MS, and perhaps being able to stop it before it gets started. And this is already early indications in other autoimmune diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, and like in type 1 diabetes, where the biomarkers for those diseases might be a little bit more advanced than MS. They're already doing this, identifying children who are at high risk for type 1 diabetes and treating them before they get full-blown diabetes, and significantly delaying the development of type 1 diabetes. So we think we can do this in MS, and we're making a lot of investments in this area of prevention that I'm really excited about.
That's unbelievable, Bruce. I don't know about some of you watching, but I get chills when I hear those updates. As I think about people I meet living with MS and my sister, and I just hear the word hope when you say that. There is just so much hope right now of where we're on the cusp of these breakthroughs. And I know so much of that is because of our viewers and the great fundraising that we're doing, and how we're supporting that. And, I said this earlier, but, we have 1 million people living with MS in America that need us. They need us right now, and they need us for those things that you just mentioned, Bruce. If we are just on the edge of some of these huge breakthroughs that can really change people's lives. I know I would be remiss not to bring this up right now, just where we're at in our crisis and Corona and everything, but what has the impact of COVID-19 been on the society's MS research?
Yeah, so, we're still learning what the impact is. Of course, the pandemic is affecting everyone's lives. It stopped or significantly slowed lots of sectors of our society and our economy, and research is not, immune to that. So what we're learning is that university laboratories, those laboratories that are focused on more fundamental research, some of the research that I mentioned, the research that involves cell cultures or model systems, a lot of that work is paused. A lot of it can be put in a freezer, if you will, and sort of put on ice and on hold. And so we're learning that a lot of that research is essentially on ice for the moment. And that what a lot of labs are doing, some are working in shifts, Carrie, so some are letting a couple people in and they keep their social distance, and then another group will come in later. So there's still some activity going on in some labs where it's allowed in that jurisdiction. But for the most part, things are on ice. But what people aren't really wasting this time. This is interesting, to find opportunities in this time. So what a lot of people are doing is they're analyzing data that they, wouldn't maybe have had the time to sit down and analyze, while they were working in the lab. They're focused on writing scientific papers to communicate their research, where, it's always hard to find time to do that while you're doing all the experiments. So they're focused on analyzing data. They're writing papers, and I think they're strategizing about how am I going to get things back started as quickly as possible once we're able to get back into the lab again. Now so that's really the basic scientists, the, white coats in the laboratory, But for the clinical science, those trials, a lot of the investigators are doing the best they can to keep those going. So people who are trying an experimental therapy, you can't stop that in the middle of a trial. So they're getting creative about how to monitor and measure things remotely, because a lot of those folks can't come into the clinic anymore for those measurements. So people are getting creative of how to do that remotely and continue those studies as best they can in the environment that we're in. Again, poised to jump back into it as quickly as possible once we're able to get back to work.
Oh, that's tremendous. I know a lot of people were nervous about that and COVID-19 and the impacts. And it sounds like while things are halted, there's still some other unique progress. And Desiree Harris is giving us a shout out and just thanking you, Bruce, for the work that you're doing and the research, and just said in the 12 years since her diagnosis, how far we have come.
Yeah.
And I think we all have our stories with that. And Sarah, living with MS since 1999, Sarah, of, how much you've probably seen with research and treatment options. And, we are here. And I know that as we think about, fundraising our events and moving things to virtual platforms, Sarah and Milt, if I could just switch back to you, I would love to know how you want to commemorate your virtual Walk MS. What does that look like for you this year?
So our Walk MS Milwaukee is on Sunday, May 3rd. So that's a week from tomorrow.
Okay.
And I haven't actually been able to do the walk physically for a number of years now. I've been doing it. Similar to what you described, Bruce, earlier about your mother, I've gone from cane to walker to scooter to all the combinations. So we have decided not to physically walk for our virtual MS walk. What we are going to do is kind of an extension of our Walk Hard to Fight MS event. And we are going to make fortune cookies.
Oh, I love that.
We do serve them as the dessert at our event, but we order them with custom fortunes. And we thought, well, let's do something that we can maybe do with an audience of people. Very simple ingredients and pretty easy to make. And we can all do it together, and we can make fortunes. Some, certainly some can be funny and cute and clever, but I'd like to make some that give people information about MS, facts about who are the kinds of people that get MS. Women get it more than men, and are there parts of the country that get it more than others? The different kinds of MS in terms of relapsing, remitting versus progressive forms. So kind of do a little fun activity and create awareness at the same time. So we will be sending out information on my personal Facebook page, as well as Milt's and our Walk Hard page, with the ingredients and information about how people can participate in that. And it'll be a Facebook Live event on May 3rd.
Oh, I love that. All right, viewers, we have something else to look forward to next weekend. So thank you so much, Sarah and Milt and Bruce, for sharing your stories and your passion. And every time Bruce talks, I just lean in, because that's where I get so excited. And it's just information I can take with me and share with my fundraising community. So I told you at the beginning, I have a big announcement. We're starting to wrap up right now. Stay tuned. I'm almost there. I have a couple of just quick things I want to pass along. I know we're virtual, but still register. That helps us get to know you. It helps us communicate with you, and it ensures that we know how to invite you back next year when we are at one of those beautiful parks all together celebrating in person. So please do that. And we do ask, fundraise if you are able, if you can. You've heard Sarah and Milt's story of doing it in such unique ways with their resources. Bruce gave us so much incredible information about how close we are with so many different research opportunities. And we need that. We need your fundraising efforts. That's what really fuels our programs, our services. We have an MS Navigator program, 1-800-FIGHT-MS, that can help you support you if you're living with MS, your loved ones, whatever you need, and just other helpful tips that you'll find on our websites. We love your pictures and videos. I wish I could have shouted all of them out today, but show us how you are celebrating Walk MS your way. We want to see your t-shirts, your team names, and all the creative ways that you are still infusing energy into this unique way of walking. Just want to thank all of our viewers. Thank you for carving out this Saturday morning. We hope that this kind of jazzed you up to put your sneakers on, go outside in a safe way, and just advertise that you are walking for MS today. We have a lot of sponsors, and we thank our sponsors right now. Walk MS is so grateful for the support of our wonderful local sponsors. We also have some incredible 2020 premier and national sponsors, and you've been seeing their names throughout the screen. All right, I wish I could do a sound effect of a drum roll, but last week we made an announcement that we were going for $100,000 in fundraising. And if we reach that number, an anonymous gift would be made in the amount of $50,000. So I am excited to say, remember our goal was $100,000, that we reached $743,000 this last week. Yes, that, I mean, oh my goodness, fireworks, pom-poms, whatever you have, that is just phenomenal. So thank you to everyone who helped reach that number. So we are going to be receiving that additional $50,000 bonus. Everyone was so impressed with that, with what Walk MS accomplished this last week, that a new second anonymous donor is also going to participate with us again and has $60,000 in the hopes that we can generate another round of big fundraising gains that will really support the research and advances that Bruce highlighted today. So motivated by opportunities to support research, next week we're going to be going for $250,000, although I just saw that we are capable of doing more than that. So let's blow it out of the water. I don't know, maybe $1 million. I don't know. It seems like it is possible. It is possible. And so we're going to be asking all of our Walk MS participants to contribute in any amount that you can to keep Bruce's scientists in their labs and really working on a cure for MS. So our broadcast, we're going to be doing another one of these next Saturday on May 2nd. I'm going to be back with 3 other special guests. I just want to thank everyone for tuning in. Lace up your sneakers or however you want to commemorate Virtual Walk MS today, and keep supporting Virtual Walk MS and keep supporting one another. Thank you and take care.